Hello, lovelies. Welcome to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I am Gina Cobreath of Seebless Wellness. For those who have been here before, welcome back. We're glad to see you as always. And I am joining you. Let me get closer because my face look all cut off. Sorry about that. Joining you for an episode. It's late because this was supposed to be last week's episode, but got caught up in some stuff. But better late than never, right? And it's always at the correct time when the universe decides. So last week we were talking about who am I? And to be honest, I kind of felt like a little more time could be given to that because when I did the exercise that I encouraged everyone to do, it took me a while. It wasn't a few days. It was probably more like a few weeks of asking myself that before I really heard an answer from within myself and not just my roles, not just like what I was in relationship to objects and other people. So how's that going? I'm just curious. How's everybody getting along with the question of who am I? If you have anything you want to share, please put it in the comments. I will respond, I promise. So today we're talking about whose are you? Okay, so for those that are moms, there becomes a point when you are no longer an individual. You are somebody's mama. And you realize that when you go to pick your child up from the daycare or from school and they say, hi, blah, blah, blah's mom. Hi, so and so's mom. Like you don't even have a name. You don't even have an identity aside from being that person. So, not that. Not that is not the answer to the question of whose am I? Who do I derive from? So this is the easy answer is family. Like I'm a like for all intents and all intents and purposes, I am a Cobreath by marriage, but I'm a Walker. Like that's who I am. That was my daddy's name. But in so I belong to them in the natural. Yes, this is an accurate statement, but not to the question we're asking because we're talking about spiritual things because we're learning to live from within. So think hard, not even think. This is one of those drop down. So close your eyes, drop down in your heart so you can get the answer from within yourself, not up here, down here in your heart. It's not going to be a logical thing. It's going to be a internal awareness thing. So this was an exercise that really went with last week, but I think you should do this. Try this first, especially if you're still working on the who I am. Close your eyes and think of objects. So think of a red square, a blue triangle, a yellow circle. And you'll notice, like, because your eyes are closed, as you hear the description, inside your mind, you see a picture of that thing. You are the observer of those pictures. You're the creator and the observer of those pictures. You're not a green square. You're not a yellow triangle. You're not the thing that you saw or you projected. You're the silent witness behind it. So that's like even behind your thoughts because you didn't have to think about that. It just appeared basically because you became aware of your thought that your thought created this mental picture and you became aware of the thought. So that's when you do that, then you're able to kind of come to the awareness that there is larger than just your body that you are, larger than just your thoughts that you are, larger than just your emotions that you are. And behind that awareness is that there's something larger than myself. There's a higher being. So I don't even want to like break it down into like religion or faith, but use that because it's definitely how most of us do come to the awareness of there being a source, a creator that's much larger than ourselves. But it doesn't matter what you call it, whether you call it God, Jesus, Allah, source, nature, life. It's spirit. It's all the oneness of everything, the creation. That's whose we are. That is whose we are. So that is like something at a level much deeper than like just our natural. I'm so and so's mom. I'm such and such's wife. I work for this company. That's whose we are at a natural sense. But I mean, your soul. Who does your soul belong to? I took a couple of notes. So I'm gonna look down a couple of times, but it's not because I'm not paying attention. I am. Okay, so the important thing to know about this is you don't have to earn who you belong to. Like, you know how people are. A good example is children. Like, when your child is born, you just love them, and they have come out and they look kind of gross. They got blood and stuff all over them, but the immense love and affection that you have for them is instantaneous. They didn't have to do anything to receive that. Think of your creator, your source in that same way. Because I do think a lot of times we give ourselves this picture that our source, our creator, is waiting for us to behave a certain way, do a certain thing, say a certain thing, be perfect all the time before we can be in relationship to him, or until we can be aware of his ever presence with us all the time. This is untrue. It's very untrue. Think of it in that perception that I gave you about your child, your baby infant child. They don't have to do anything to receive your love or your care, your comfort, whatever you can give to them. For those of you that may not have children, it's the same as when you're a child. You don't have to do anything for your parents' love. They just love you. They created you. Same thing with our creator of our spirit, our soul. Okay. So there's also no judgment, and you may get what I call, when you relate more to the whose you are, you'll sometimes hear, and I don't mean hear like someone talking to you necessarily, but an internal knowing. That's how it comes across for me. But I'm sure there are people who hear, maybe you see visions or have dreams. That's all in the realm of it. But for the majority of people, it's a knowing. So when you have that knowing, sometimes it tells you like, maybe this could have gone this way, or you should try this, or this would be, it would give you instruction, but it never is a judgment. It can be an observation, and if you take it, if it comes across to you as a judgment, it's generally not your higher self. It's not your source. It's some thoughts that you are recurring for you, or it's just like your own personal imaginings that you're putting on source, because source doesn't come to us in that way. But this is the thing. This is the most important part of this. Any relationship that you have is basically as good as the how you show up and the time and effort you put in. So I'm not saying like you have to be like hours and hours on end with whatever is your way you connect. It could be talking, it could be meditating, it could be prayer, it could be dancing, it could be singing, it could be creative endeavors, it can be whatever is your way, that when you do that, you know that like this is my time that I'm connecting to source. It could be being in nature. It could be any number of things. We'll talk about that later as well, like just ways that you can do it. But it is just about the quality of the time. So are you doing other stuff and not really focused? Because think of it like a date. Like if you go on a date and the person is looking at their phone or just not really engaged with you, or they're doing something out of obligation, right? So that's the same with your source. If you spend time with your source, dedicated time, quality time, I would recommend each day. Because if, say you're in a marriage or a live-in relationship, or your children are small, you talk to them every day. Like, so this is the source of our being. This is why we breathe. We don't even know like why we breathe. This is why we breathe, because of the source that has given us life. This is why we are alive. So I think it appropriate to connect on a day-to-day basis, if for nothing else, a little gratitude. I'm just saying, but do it however you do it. Get it how you live. That's your relationship. But do a relationship check-in. You know, if you spend quality time with your creator, with the source, with your higher being that you believe in. You know if you do. And if you don't, I welcome you and encourage you to do it. It's life changing for sure. And get out of your mind that you have to do something first. Even if you just say thank you, one thank you a day, that's not going to hurt, right? You could do that. You could do that. There's no requirements or prerequisites, just awareness to connect and do it. So I think that it's very important to note that this is a bonus question I'm asking, because of course this was on Whose Are You? But the bonus question is how your creator views its creation. Know that, because that is important, because I think a lot of external things kind of depict ways in which we should be judged by our creator, but you need to know how your creator, your higher source, views you on an individual basis with no external input on it. You have to know that. And that is the beginning of the relationship. That's the beginning when you really know the sheer love and just care and just it's when I think of it, it's overwhelming. Like I want to cry because when you know that, it's very difficult for you to think of yourself poorly, because you're not going to judge the creator's creation. So don't judge the creator's creation. You have to spend some time figuring out how the creator, your creator, created you wonderfully and masterfully. You're the only one like you out of 8 billion plus people on the planet. You're the only one like you. That's a miracle. That's miraculous, as a matter of fact. So think about like the creator, how you look upon your creation. Like when you make something, like if you cook something really, really good, or for those of you who are artistic, I am not. You paint something, you draw something, you write a song, you know, like, oh, I did that. So think of yourself in that way. He did that when he made you. Okay? Know that today. And that's whose you are. Focus on that. All right, that's all I got today. But until we talk again, you already know what I'm going to ask you to do. Live, love, and thrive. Mwah.